Okay. I thought, hey, this is the second time I'm doing this because you always mess up the first time. But I thought it'd be more fun to do my explanation this way. And since you always talk about diversified learning and different ways to hand stuff in, I'll just go this way so you don't see everything. I thought it'd be much more interesting to do this personally instead of writing stuff down. So, to give you a little background, I have taught for the last 7 years in Alt-Ed High School. It's my first teaching placement. I straight out of Teachers College. I had the wonderful opportunity to go to a school that was just starting. The school works with the students taking, mainly working out ILCs and booklets that we have created or different items along those lines, where within a class you may have a math class, but when a math class has 15 students and 7 to 10 different math courses going on. So that kind of frames my discussion for the first part, and then I'll go into my next part. And I'm framing most of this off of math because that's what I'm going to go into. I have my new placement, and in my last placement I taught math, phys ed, plus anything else that came across my desk, such as art, geography, civics, careers, design your own future, tons of stuff like that, co-op, prep programs, so on and so forth. Right, so the first question is beginning statement discussing how you currently integrate assessment into your educational programming. So at my previous school, unfortunately, my previous school, we looked at assessment along the lines of very informal one-on-one. You're always meeting with students, sitting down with students, working with students, checking in with students. Only having 15 in the class and probably 7 to 10 there per day, you get an opportunity to sit down with each student for a good chunk of time and knowing where they are each day, what they're working on each day, and helping them and teaching them each day. So you're really checking in with students, answering questions with students, teaching students. They're never really a day or two without you checking in. I don't know if there's ever a day where it goes by where I don't know where the student is. You can ask teachers who can ask where they are, and I'll tell you exactly what lesson or what question they're on. That's how interactive we are with the students. So this allows us to understand what their needs are, to slow them down, to speed them up, when they need to work on different tools. How they shape the learning culture, your assessment. St. John Bosco really looks at individualizing for each student. So the student is A, allowed to work at their own pace, and B, we really look at student strengths and what they achieve best with, and then designing their programming for that. So the student strengths, the students participate in the learning, so they tell you how they best show their work, how they enjoy showing their work, how they best work in a classroom, whether it's handing in projects, even down to where they sit in the class or things along those lines. So within the math program, I've taught many different ways where I ask the students, what's the best way to help you? And sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes I've used a whiteboard where they're sitting on a desk with a whiteboard and we work on questions. Sometimes it's standing up at a whiteboard. Sometimes I direct them with EA support, where EA has a group of 2 or 3 students who they can direct very specifically and very quickly. Sometimes I use videos, online videos, to help direct kids. Some are hands-off, who don't want you to help, or you just check in. The school is fostered by allowing students to participate in their learning, so that really looks at the assessment of how they interact and how they work together with you. Diversity within the school was addressed through students having a voice within their learning, and also how everyone's different and on a different path. Within one class, there's probably three or four different learning styles being addressed and being allowed to flourish within that segment. So we adjust to allow the students to do their best, and then our assessment follows what they wish along those lines. With my new placement at my new school, I'm looking to incorporate a flipped classroom as well as vertical non-permanent surfaces. So a flipped classroom is where students do the lecture part at home instead of in the classroom. Then they do a little bit of work at home as a prep work just to get a base knowledge of the material. And then they come in and they do the homework at school. And the homework here would be completed on a vertical non-permanent surfaces in randomized groups of 3 seems to be the best number by research. The surface could be a chalkboard, whiteboard, anything that the kids can work at as a group. And they work through questions as a group. And if they have questions, hopefully they don't go to me, because they can also learn from the other students around the classroom. So I broke up what I would like to do with assessment, since this is my first time teaching within a traditional school, and what I want to look like. Unfortunately, I don't know what it looks like yet, because I haven't taught traditional programming, especially in this way. So assessment as learning. Working on the vertical non-permanent surfaces, the students will be correcting and helping each other with tasks. And this will allow students to see how well they're on pace, how well they're understanding material, what they need to work on by interactions with the group, with the other 2 people with them, and also in talking through questions. I want to incorporate the learning criteria and the success criteria into the classroom, where at the end of the day they get to check off if they believe they obtain success. I did this at St. John Bosco, where students checked off if they believe they accomplished that goal today. Whatever goal, each student had different goals, whatever goal it was, if they believe they met, exceeded, or needed improvement in getting that goal, they're able to access along those lines, actually turned very successful in the long run, with students being able to self-assess and actually motivate themselves to work. So I'd like to bring that over and see if kids can check off if they believe they've met the criteria. And this will work both ways. One, it'll be for them, where they can acknowledge, okay, I did well today, and also I get to take a peek at it and take a peek and see if they're on track. Assessment for learning. One of the biggest things I find is diagnostic, to make sure they're ready for the upcoming task. In my setting, I find I lose a lot of kids if they're not ready for it. So doing a diagnostic is very key, so I can get them ready for up to speed for the material. Providing opportunity for review of the previous day's work. So taking a peek at what they've done coming into the class, using Google Forms, or gamifying it by using some website like Knowledge Hook, will allow me to see if they're on track, or if there's any holes in our learning as a group or even as individual that I need to address and need to maybe circle back if I notice that a group or a population does not obtain the material. And the gamification of it, such as Knowledge Hook or even doing Google Forms, will allow a little less threatening, maybe fun way to get a snapshot of it. While they're doing the vertical non-permanent surface work, I'll be interacting with them, walking around, taking a look at their work, seeing who's involved, who's not involved. And that'll give me a quick assessment, informal way of taking a peek. Tracking the flipped classroom as well. There's websites out there that allow you to track if they watched the video, if they did the prep questions. I was sitting with a teacher who has one of these websites, and she phones ahead prior to a test to make sure the parents are aware that their son or daughter is maybe not following through on their work, and needs a little bit of help to get up to speed, or even allows her to see, firstly, do I need to see the student, see if they're on task, see if they know what they're doing. Who knows, the student may master the material and feel no need to, and if they have the material mastered, then they may not want to or need to watch the videos leading up to it. So it kind of helps you see the thing you can't see. And also, I'm looking to have students put together a notebook through like Google Notebook, where they can take pictures, write notes, and upload it into a digital notebook, because they won't be working in an actual notebook. And this will allow them to take notes, but also if I get it shared with me, I can take a peek at it and see what they're up to, see how many notes they're taking, see if they're missing anything, especially if they miss a day. I can maybe upload some stuff or share some stuff from each day. Assessment of learning. Use the records of the previous listed websites and activities, such as the Knowledge Hook or the Google Form or things along those lines. So I can take a snapshot of where they are at that point. In addition, I can put together a portfolio of where they are by walking around with my own device and taking pictures of the work, taking pictures of the questions that they're accomplishing and the success and maybe non-success of it, so I can get a picture of what they're succeeding at or what I need to address to make sure they're successful. The next question is, how does it fit in my classroom learning culture? This is very important if I want to do these two things, that it fits within the flow of the classroom and doesn't stand out, where I can just, it occurs naturally. I think things I'm thinking of implementing, such as the check on the previous day's work, if it's a constant everyday thing where we review the previous day's work before going ahead, it will happen naturally and it won't disrupt the flow of the class. The interactions with the students and talking around, walking around, taking pictures of the work and things along those lines is all included in the flow and the teaching style along those lines. So maintaining flow within a vertical non-permanent surface classroom is very important, but also assessment, if I can make it allow it to happen within the flow, it will be quite successful. Then the last question is, student diversity is something I'm still thinking about, because I haven't taught this way or haven't had a chance to. That this is something that will have to come out as I further research it, and maybe including different handouts for different learners or different ways to obtain knowledge, providing manipulables within the classroom so students who do need them can go access them, go grab them, can work with them. Doesn't mean everyone has to, but the students who need it. Well, I hope that wasn't too boring and you enjoyed the kitchen background. I promise the next one I do, I'll have a little bit more time and maybe I'll do something more fun. All right, have a good night, or day, or morning.